A warning?
There ain't nothing to worry about.
I'm worried that you work in an office, have children, celebrate wedding anniversaries. The world of heterosexual is a sick and boring life.
To see his kids, I need to be with my children. Daniel Hillard was ready for anything.
Hello!
Now, ready or not,
One drop or two. Would you like another one? Oh, there you go.
here comes Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh, sir, the terrorists, they ran that way. It was a run by fruiting.
Robin Williams is Mrs. Doubtfire. A father's work is never done.
Mrs. Doubtfire. You're headed to the men's room.
Rated PG-13. Starts Wednesday, November 24th at theaters everywhere.
Welcome back to the show, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back.
I've been waiting for a chance to add that to the soundboard for 5 years.
I think that you greet me every single day I walk in from work with that line.
I think I do. Listeners, my name is Pete.
And I'm Scott, and these are the movies that made us gay. Joshua Clement, very good friend of ours.
Joshua.
Welcome back to the show. It's good to be here. We're talking about a staple of all of our childhood and young adulthood. So I guess that you were in high school in this case.
I was.
But Josh and I were children when this movie came
We'll still
out.
call Pete a child.
Sure. I was a kid.
We got to our Mrs. Doubtfire episode, directed by Chris Columbus, written by Randy Meyer-Singer and Leslie Dixon. I mean, movies that made us gay. All-star Leslie Dixon, the writer of Overboard, producer of Gone Girl, Leslie Dixon, treasure on our show. And this movie is based on the book Madame Doubtfire by Anne Fine, released November 24th, 1993.
Work.
This was the second highest grossing movie of 1993, followed by Jurassic Park. Do either of you two want to guess what else was in the top 10 of 93? Because it is fire.
I mean,
all of these movies.
That was a good summer for movies.
I mean, is this between like Aladdin's and Lion King?
It is in between Aladdin and The Lion King. The Lion King would be 94, but we got a Best Picture winner. We have an action movie, an erotic thriller, romance, action, legal thrillers. So, number 10, Julia Roberts and Denzel Washington in The Pelican Brief. Back when John Grisham movies would rank in money.
Yeah.
Number 9, Philadelphia.
Yes.
Oscar-winning performance by Tom Hanks.
Yes.
Good song.
Sleepless in Seattle, another Tom Hanks movie at number 8, a favorite of my childhood. I grew up on Sleepless in Seattle. Cliffhanger at number 7. I forget the Cliffhanger
Stallone
was a massive hit.
It
was a big hit.
Yeah.
Number 6, Indecent Proposal.
Okay.
I was thinking about this movie this week because I have never seen Indecent Proposal.
Not all the way through.
I think that we talked about it on our Sliver episode, but it makes sense that I haven't seen it because this came out when I was in the first or second grade. So it's just I would have had that movie was not on my radar as a small child. Right. So,
but erotic thrillers,
erotic thriller, still making money in the 90s. The Firm at number 5, another legal thriller. Schindler's List at number 4.
Right. Okay.
The Fugitive. That's our best Oprah. And then Mrs. Doubtfire at number 2, and then Jurassic Park at number 1.
Wow.
What's the big thing from the future people use now? The meme, I don't care.
I don't care. Yeah.
Chris Columbus on a roll. That he did Home Alone in 1990. I mean, that was a big break for him as a director because, he kind of made his name in Hollywood as a kind of a rookie screenwriter in his 20s, was given kind of this B John Hughes movie that probably a lot of people declined. It became a massive hit for Fox, and then he followed it up with Mrs. Doubtfire in 93.
Oh yeah, I was wondering what was the sequel distance on the Home Alones, but okay.
I think that Home Alone 2 was
quick, but
Home Alone 2 is 92.
Okay,
actually.
so it was
so
boom, boom, boom.
I guess that it was 3 massive hits in a row. I forgot about Lost in New York, but yeah.
That's wild.
But yeah, I mean, quite like the trifecta of movies, because usually, I mean, if you have a runaway hit as your first movie, usually your second movie is the one that tends to not do so well. Mrs. Doubtfire, a movie that I definitely saw in the theater as a kid. I mean, early movie memory for me, definitely I had been going to movies a lot as a kid, but I just remember this movie being a massive hit that everybody saw.
Yeah, I remember seeing it in the theater, but I feel like my memories with time became more closely associated with just getting the VHS and watching it a lot with the family.
Same.
You know, my dad is a big fan of Sally's final moments in the restaurant, and he would quote that and,
the whole time.
Yeah. I mean, and also interesting today in today's world how these things we grew up with our childhood have now come back into memification.
Yeah.
Right.
And, you know, I'm now seeing them something almost weekly.
Right. Well, I mean, it just shows you that things that we grew up with and we love so much, it's so easy to find a little moment and turn it into something funny that kind of lives on the internet and just kind of becomes a viral moment or a meme, something that you see on Instagram all the time. And so it's like these movies that were so beloved when we were kids, you know, in the 90s, now they're having this resurgence because of we know them beat for beat. We know, like, just it is a big moment in the movie, but it's not like a standout joke the whole time. But it strikes you and you remember it, you know. And anytime I see Sally in this movie, kind of have a little frantic moment, I can see a little bit of Malin from Steel Magnolia.
I also see a little bit of Soap Dish too.
Well, yes, for sure. But I did not see this in the movie theater.
Really?
No, I didn't. I saw Jurassic Park in the theater.
What the hell were you doing?
What the hell?
In high school? Not going to Mrs. Doubtfire,
Not going
I
to
guess.
Mrs. Doubtfire. I was in high school. I didn't have a car. None of my friends did. I was 15.
Yeah. So did it come to you more like a rental kind of?
Yeah, I think it was just a thing that it was, you know, probably my dad rented it and we just watched it and it was hilarious because it's Robin Williams, of course. And then it was just on cable all the time. So I've just seen it a million times since then.
Yeah.
I feel like in college, like my college friends just thought it was really funny. Like Jose and I would just sit around and watch stupid movies all the time. So I think we had a real love for, like, in the late 90s, we had this real love for, like, watching movies on TBS, and we just always had a joke of what movies, if we were getting ready to do something, leave the house, go anywhere, and just something was playing. It's like, well, shit, I can't go now. I gotta finish this, you know.
Do you know, I remember doing a game with Jose when we would be out at trivia at T-Boils or something, is when we would be watching, when we just would see a movie on at a bar, and who could guess the movie the quickest? Yeah. When you just see the logo.
Like the opening credits?
When you see the opening credits or the first logo, like 20th Century Fox, what's the first movie that you think of
what movie is
when you see this logo of 20th Century Fox? I also noticed at the very beginning of the movie an older logo of 20th Century Fox that I think that they probably redesigned the logo in 94.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
I noticed it was just kind of the older
classic
80s classic one.
Spotlight.
That's very inside baseball. I don't remember.
But yeah, I remember doing stupid shit like that of just kind of culture of just watching movies on cable.
Yeah. But I do remember this movie being a big hit. I do remember everybody watching it and kind of friends talking about it and stuff. So after home video, I was like, okay, I know what's up with this movie. I resented the fact that this movie led an entire generation of children wrong in thinking that animated movies are made this way.
Oh, sure. The opening scene where he's dubbing.
The animation is locked in the animation. And the voice actors come in and just, like, go crazy.
Well, maybe it's a French cartoon that they're dubbing into English.
Sure.
Yeah, and there's something kind of low budget about his actor life.
Right. Yeah. Would he be
in San Francisco,
like leading an animated feature? I don't know. But we did decide that Pudgy and Grudge were animated by Chuck Jones.
Right.
That cat, I was like, that is a Chuck Jones cat.
Have
I ever seen
That's
one.
a Chuck Jones cat and mouse.
Yeah. It was a bird.
Bird. Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
Cat and a bird.
Bird smoking the cigarette.
No, Pudgy, don't smoke.
I feel like Mrs. Doubtfire, I mean, classic drag cinema, too. So it's fun to talk about on our show. I guess that not anything explicitly LGBT in this movie, but we have Harvey Fierstein.
We got the brother. And
we got the brother.
Aunt Jack.
And Aunt Jack.
Aunt Jack.
Probably when I was a child.
What's Harvey's character's name? Charlie, I think. And Uncle Charlie and Aunt Jack.
Yeah.
Uncle Frank.
Uncle Frank
and Aunt Jack.
And Aunt Jack.
But I was thinking today, probably two of the first out gay characters that I would have seen as a child.
Right. That was a big
Which was
thing.
always a big thing. And the movie treats them very normal, too.
Like, it doesn't...
It never explicitly calls attention to them. They're just existing.
I feel
and successful in their show business craft.
I feel like we know that they're a couple because Uncle or Aunt Aunt Jack is like tell your mom thank you for the jam, like.
But there's no affection scene. Yes,
yeah. There's not explicitly like they're a couple or whatever, but it's implied through their relationship that they
live and work together.
Yeah. And that their mother, that Ma, is sending stuff to Aunt Jack, like, as
and they
gifts.
have a better relationship with Ma than Daniel does.
Yeah,
which I think is interesting. Right. We can talk a little bit about more of them later, but yeah, I mean that was definitely a moment. But yeah, they were definitely characters that stuck out to me as a child.
Yeah,
of kind of seeing these two out characters.
Yeah,
that was definitely something that I had not seen in a movie ever really before. So.
Yeah, the early 90s are just not really rolling that way in a mainstream kind of so much.
And I'm trying to remember...
But they're starting to make
like the
inroads.
first time I was kind of aware of Harvey as an actor, Harvey Fierstein. You know, it's like his voice is so iconic, and I know he had done... there's a film of Torch Song Trilogy,
which is really great. But
I to this day have never.
Is it
seen
before or
it.
after this? Do you know?
It's
the
before
Torch Song Trilogy. It's before, yeah.
It's in the 80s, but it's good.
It's old, yeah. But Matthew Broderick, right?
Right.
And Harvey was working with Robin Williams shortly before with what's the big thing in England? Or no, it was
the comedy.
The comedy. I actually think it was
Relief.
Comic Relief.
But Comic Relief, it was here.
Comic Relief was here.
They used to do Comic Relief in the U.S. and then they just stopped because we hate charity apparently. But they've continued it in the U.K.
But yeah, Harvey got this gig through Robin.
But I mean,
through
he
Comic
was.
Relief.
But Harvey Fierstein was on The Simpsons in '90, and I knew who he was.
Okay.
So, like, why would I have known who he was in 1990?
Yeah.
Was I just watching Miami Vice? I'm looking through his IMDb. I must have just watched him and Miami Vice, Murder, She Wrote.
Just an awareness of him as a person.
And just had an awareness
just
of
kind of working the rounds.
That voice.
As a character
kind
actor.
Of look.
Yeah.
And...
But yeah, for the 90s to have that quick succession of the smaller roles in this and Independence Day, I think really made people much more aware.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah. Even though, is he playing the same character?
Ma.
He's on the phone with Ma the whole time.
He said think about it, Ma.
He said, think about it.
So, do you think this movie revisits well? I mean, all of these years later, over 30 years later.
I mean, I was telling you for a movie now. This far back, there's really just a couple moments we talked about that you would change. Which, for like we said, for a movie that's tackling gender and the whole drag
identity
concept,
and all of that,
not bad.
It could have been worse. It could have been worse with some slurs, some language. Even Robin, God bless him. Sometimes he would make some jokes, and you're like, "Oh my God, you can't say that."
Right?
You know, like doing like feminine characters or gay characters or whatever.
His little racial characters too.
You know, maybe a couple of those, but the lady with the nails,
right?
I mean, that was giving Hank Azaria. For me too.
Exactly, very similar.
Agador Spartacus, but yeah, I think it toes a good line of like, this is funny. This is a man in a dress.
Right.
And it's Robin, so he's first day as a woman. I'm already having hot flashes, and going through all this territory. But still, it's
Right, you're not making fun of it in that vicious way.
Right. And he's not living his life as a woman.
Right.
You know, he's going home.
It's not
purpose.
making any comments on early trans issues of the 90s.
And maybe because he was an older woman, they were able to get around jokes about like physical appearance, like an ugly lady, you know, things like that. But as far as the makeup, because it's this use of prosthetics,
so convincing
by the amazing Vino,
Icon.
Oscar-winning makeup,
Oscar-winning makeup artist and
acrylic nail
aficionado. Very good.
Paints Beetlejuice's face with a full set of coffin tipped acrylics.
There's a good YouTube video of her walking through the makeup appliances in this movie.
But the fact that they use prosthetics and not just like a beauty makeup, you know, kind of we'll get around the issue of like quote unquote passing,
and it doesn't
looks like a woman,
and it doesn't turn into the man in a dress movies of the 80s of movies and TV when characters would be in drag like Dustin Hoffman or Tom Hanks in Bosom Buddies, and you're just like, Maury, that's a man.
Yeah, how are all these people
buying these
That's what I mean.
dudes
I think
a woman?
With the prosthetics, we're able to buy it a little bit more, so we're not questioning Sally Field living 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week with this woman.
And that's why it has to be so good, which is why I think the moments, those tiny little moments like in the kitchen when she is wondering, it's like I've known you. You look familiar. You seem familiar.
Yeah.
It makes it kind of cooler because it's so convincing.
Right. Yeah, totally.
She's got to buy it.
Yeah, exactly. And if she doesn't buy it, then we as the audience don't buy it, and it's like then the whole movie's a mess. But you know, it works out really well. I have heard an apocryphal story.
Okay,
this script originated. Like for Tim Allen, or like was this a Home Improvement episode or storyline, or
I don't know,
a TV movie of the week? For
I think I've read that in the IMDb lore,
right?
That
I
can't even remember what the specifics of that rumor were. Can you?
That it was like a TV movie for Home Improvement.
That it was going to kind of blend in some storyline of divorce and stuff for the two of them. But honestly, what makes more sense is probably the fact that he had a pass at it.
Sure.
He wasn't pleased with the script, and he also had scheduling conflicts with Home Improvement.
Okay.
That kind of probably makes more sense.
Right.
Although, I mean, we talked about this. It was the writer originally thought, wouldn't it be so funny if Warren Beatty was the man in the dress because he was the womanizer of all womanizers?
Sure. Okay.
And then apparently, supposedly, we might have Beethoven second to thank for this moment because Charles Grodin was unavailable.
Oh my God!
Offered to Charles Grodin. How do you like that?
Hard to picture, but
sure.
I mean, based on the family,
maybe. Charles Grodin's funny.
I mean, if we're going on the family comedies he was doing at the time,
right?
I guess that offer would make sense.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so Beethoven was already done,
so he was committed to the second.
He's committed to the second one, so he doesn't have time to work with it.
I wonder if this is all pre-Aladdin coming out.
Yeah, like when did this offer come?
Because I just feel like something like Aladdin Robin Williams was at the time a pretty big comedic star.
Oh, absolutely.
Oscar nominated
already.
But I think that Aladdin really just skyrocketed him in Hollywood.
Right, like if Good Morning
Vietnam... especially with children. Yeah.
Like if Good Morning Vietnam was like the voice on the radio guy, it's like having to do all the genie voices, just takes you to that next level.
Yeah, and it just kind of fits. I don't know how much of the character was maybe rewritten to work with Robin once that was nailed down. I don't know. I kind of feel like Tim Allen might be a little weird about like putting on a dress.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, he's like, I'll be Santa instead, right?
Yeah. Let's get Patricia Richardson on the phone.
Right.
She likes to tell it like a tea.
I love that. I love that interview with Patricia Richardson where she's telling tales out of school about this supposed Home Improvement
reboot.
Reboot, and she's just like, no.
She's like, I'll sue the fool.
Yeah. If I see one image of myself around this town, I will sue.
I will sue. I'll sue the fool. So let's get her on the line.
Get on the line.
She's ready on line 2.
But the Miranda Hillard side of this, too, of the original, potential Jessica Lange, but she's like, I've already done the thing, with the man in the dress.
That's corny.
And then
was it because of that? They're like, wouldn't it be cute if we guys just go?
We'll see what's true about that.
It.
But the Sally, initially turned it down because her real life was very similar to she was going through end of a marriage,
sure.
and was a little too close to home. She didn't know if she wanted to bring it home, and while she was going through it, but she decided to stick on.
Yeah, but I think she's a great choice. We were talking about their ages as we were watching this together.
I have a lot of questions about the character of Miranda Hillard's backstory.
We got to talk about Miranda Hillard.
That old money you said.
I want to know where this wealth comes from. Was she a San Francisco socialite that inherited this, even at the time, multi-million-dollar house in San Francisco?
But she is running this design firm.
Yeah.
Like a boss-ass bitch. She is, I think she is like top brass at this interior. I mean, I don't know how much interior designers make.
Right.
If the designing women have taught me anything, it's enough to live in a fancy mansion.
But she's been around in this business because she kind of knew Stu from the past.
Right.
It's
They went to college together.
Yeah. Oh, college.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. But still, I think, and clearly we know that Daniel, the Robin Williams character, is an actor. He gets gigs, but they talk a lot about him being in between gigs, and not securing all these jobs. So clearly she is bringing home the bake. She's the breadwinner of this family. But yeah, I mean, which leads into our whole conversation about spousal support.
Her and her beautiful bay window house.
I mean, and bay window office overlooking the Golden Gate Bridge.
So nice.
Jeez. Should Miranda have? Should there have been some settlements since she makes more money? I think that's how that works. I don't know.
It was just too early on, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, this is California. This is like all the what do you call it? The
split.
The ownership state. I forget what it's called.
Oh, yeah.
There's a name for it.
Where it's really 50-50.
Yeah. But at any rate, the casting's great. We love Sally. And I think Sally and Robin work together as a couple. She's only a few years older than him.
Yeah.
She's doing some really good work here. And I think that this is just a really hard role to play because she gets to have, she is the less fun one.
Yeah, you don't get to have much fun.
Okay.
I guess that
I get the argument.
She does get to bang Pierce Brosnan.
I get the
which is always a plus.
I get the argument of why do I always have to be the bad guy and you're the fun dad and I'm the one that has to make the rules and all that. But when they do get separated and she goes suicide, she is completely out of pocket. Just like, let's get out of here, get all your shit because we're not coming back.
Like,
okay,
like you're sniffing food that's just been made. Like,
you know what I mean? Yeah. Let's get out of here. Like, I don't want to have to come back here. Like,
she's early.
She's an hour early to pick them up. Was an hour late to drop them off. All that shit is not cute. If that was turned around, it would be like bad news, right? But it is a difficult role to play. But Pierce Brosnan, on the other hand, is the youngest of the three.
Stuart Denmark.
He was he was born in 1953, so he was probably around 39 when they shot the movie.
And this, you were talking about the Remington Steele. This really resurrected his career. Bond is a couple years.
Bond would have been 95.
He hadn't even been James Bond yet by this time.
No, Goldeneye was 95.
Like I think he talks about this really
that's crazy.
Taking the supporting role in Doubtfire just kind of springboarded to the next level.
Just because it was
get yourself a big studio movie and it will lead to other big things.
Wow.
I mean,
and he looked for 39.
Yeah, looks great. I mean, I like the character of Stu because he's not the traditional 80s villain that we've seen a lot in, movies like Bachelor Party. There's always just kind of a foil for the main lead.
Yeah. See, it would be difficult for the audience to watch him like bully Mrs. Doubtfire. Right. So the only way to do it would be to have him
be super nice.
No, I think it would be to have him kind of fuck with Daniel, but they don't ever interact.
No, and there's like rumors of an earlier script where he wants to send the kids off to boarding school.
Oh my goodness.
That's
in Switzerland.
That's totally an 80s holdover too.
Like we're giving some Parent Trap vibes there.
Yeah.
But it seems like his presence or maybe his casting ended up softening the character a little bit.
Okay.
Which is smart, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I think Pierce Brosnan could probably pull off playing a good villain.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get to see it that often. But I think it could have worked under certain circumstances, different, certain script. But yeah, I like where the character is now. He's a little benign, but there's some elements in there of him just like wanting to swoop in. But it's like, hey, he's single. She's single now. I mean, granted, it's pretty new, but still.
Beginning his journey of an Irish actor playing British or,
right.
What does he say?
Right.
I'm from
I forgot where he's from. And when he says her accent is muddled.
So is your tan.
Does she say that she's from Blackstool?
No, I think that's from Arrested Development.
Arrested Development. Oh, Mrs. Pennyfeather.
That's Mrs. Featherbottom.
Mrs. Featherbottom. Sorry. You could see how I would make
he was probably
mistake.
used to at this point playing British and being Irish.
So, I did notice that there are some people in this movie that have the tiniest roles. And I'm like, why did they go out of their way to bring in
Polly Holiday?
Yeah.
Who is Flo from...
She's Flo from Alice, Kiss My Grits.
Kiss My Grits.
Listeners,
she plays
about 4 of you are going to get that
She
one.
plays the neighbor, Gloria Chaney, and I believe that this was a larger character that was cut from the movie because this movie's running over 2 hours.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think that the original cut of this probably ran around 2:20.
Sure.
And for a family movie, babe, it can't be over 2 hours. So sadly, Polly's scenes were cut.
Yeah, listeners,
he was fucking with her.
If you're under the age of 50 and are not familiar with Alice, she also played Mrs. Deagle in the Gremlins movie. She was the evil lady in that. And so we saw her name in the opening credits.
She's also in The Parent Trap.
I'll be damned if Polly Holiday is not in this movie. And you guys were, she's the neighbor. And I was like, oh.
But well credited,
And well credited so high. And then we get to like, Martin Mull just works for her.
Miranda Hillard, please.
And I'm like, Martin Mull, I mean, it's not George Clooney, but I mean, it's Martin Mull. Like, he's known. He's a guy. He'd
been out there.
He'd been around, character actor. And I feel like it's kind of a little bit of a thankless kind of thing. So I'm wondering if in these drafts.
There was more stuff at work, maybe.
More stuff at Miranda's work. Yeah. Definitely more stuff we know with the neighbor.
Right.
And I mean, there's all the like IMDb trivia, like rumors of like, and there's an NC-17 cut of this movie that Robert Williams is.
I think it's been debunked from both
I think
Chris Columbus and Mara Wilson.
I'm sure that there are longer takes, of course, because they allowed him. I think it is true.
I think they said the worst that it would have been was just R.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And I think it is true that Columbus gave him the option to, once they got the take that he wanted, to do like a free, do a crazy.
They did
pass.
2 or 3 main takes, and then
I mean that they've still probably got enough to make a documentary. But
all right, well, let's set up the relationship between Daniel and Miranda. Daniel walks off his job in the first scene of the movie.
I was thinking at the beginning of the movie, I was like, would it have worked if they were already separated?
Well, I kind of think that they more or less are.
Right. They're just kind of living together.
I think that they are kind of... I mean, I don't know if he's actually living in their multi-million-dollar San Francisco townhouse on the couch. Is he living with a brother?
About it.
You don't really know.
Right. He just doesn't
You do kind of get that things are not well in this relationship.
Right. This is not the first talk that they've had. Yeah.
Fighting, he just doesn't want to talk about it. Anything serious?
I have a lot of questions about the logistics of the little middle Lawrence brothers birthday party. All the kids in town of various ages.
Yeah, it's okay. So it's Matthew Lawrence's birthday party.
Yes, there's not a lot of teenagers.
He's got the soccer.
Yeah, and there's like
so
cake. Many small children there, like little kids.
Where did they get a damn petting zoo? In the middle of the day. How many hours after school got out
to he called it like
when
a truck.
Miranda was getting home from work?
Yeah.
Did they have time to get all of this together?
Well, Okay, and then also all those children, including like the toddlers, he's the only adult. All the parents are just like, bye.
Yeah, we see like one
Have fun.
animal person outside.
Oh, you got a rockin' petting zoo? I'm
Parents
just gonna
didn't
drop you
stay?
off.
Like, what? Maybe for like Matthew Lawrence's age, I feel like my parents dropped me off at birthday parties,
Yeah.
and then picked me up in a couple hours.
But for
later.
Mara Wilson.
But for the Mara Wilson age kids, girl, what?
They're just dancing around.
They're just dancing around.
A damn miniature horse in the house.
There's someone swinging from the chandelier.
Yeah. And the donkey's outside.
The donkey's outside. Okay. Okay. We know that she gets so upset because there's a petting zoo inside the house.
You ate my begonias.
But he ate her begonias.
I think I've seen this as a meme of when you're a little kid just being like, geez, Sally Field. Like,
Yeah.
cut him some slack.
Wet blanket.
Wet blanket. But then
then the new
when you're watching it as an adult, he brought a damn horse into the house.
right.
How do you like that?
Sure did.
He brought a damn horse into the house.
Pooped all over the living room.
It's a pony.
A pony.
Careful, that pony's had a lot of water.
Yeah, and she goes down and like turns off the music, and everybody's like, "God."
Party's over.
But no, you're right. There's a damn horse in the house, and it's ate all her food. Her floors are probably ruined.
And this is really the breaking point of the relationship.
Yeah.
They say 14 years of marriage.
Well, I mean, Lydia is the oldest kid,
Yeah, so after...
and she looks about she's
Started
probably
to-
about
She
13.
could be about-
yeah.
14 years old. Yeah.
We should talk about the kids though.
Yeah,
We
let's get
haven't
into
talked yet.
the wonderful child actor performances. So we have, like we mentioned, Lydia, played by Lisa Jakub.
Yeah.
Lisa Jakub, Matthew Lawrence as Chris, and little Mara Wilson as Natalie.
Little Mara Wilson.
film debut.
Natalie.
So cute.
Oh my! Everything she says is just gold. Everything she says just makes you want to cry. Why is that? What is that about her little performance?
Then why would you do that?
Her little. Why would you want mommy to die? Her little
Why would you say
whisper.
that? Yeah.
Her little whisper, like delivery, and her little sad eyes. Like you watch.
I mean, this movie made her into a pretty massive child star. I mean,
Yeah. Jump
followed
right
it
into
with Miracle on 34th Street and Matilda.
Miracle with Robert Prosky again, Mr. Lundy
I
here.
was wondering, I was just like, has this guy played Santa in a movie? Yeah. Miracle on 34th
But yeah,
Street.
Matilda, iconic, yeah. Oh, Mara.
And then Lisa Jakub didn't really do. Independence Day.
That's what I remember, yeah.
We remember her from Independence Day.
And also the movie theater one I like. Matinee.
Oh,
Joe
I love
Dante's Matinee.
I love
Really good.
Matinee.
Yeah, she had
it
these
is
few
fun.
little
Yeah.
things.
She had some pretty banger
Yeah.
child work.
And we noticed that young Matthew, I mean, his career goes back pretty far.
Yeah. You
He was
had to
getting
kind
busy
of
on TV, huh?
Yeah, he did
because
a lot of TV stuff.
I am in between little Lawrence brother's age. What's his name?
Andrew.
Andrew and Matthew.
Okay.
Kind of like right in between their ages.
Okay.
So there's a lot of Matthew Lawrence's child work in the 80s that I am not familiar with because I'm just so young.
See, I always thought I was closest in age to. Oh yeah, Andrew's born in 1988. Wow, I always thought I was closest in age to Joey, but he is considerably older than me. Oh no, he's not. 76, and Matthew's 80. Okay, I guess I am closest. I guess I am closest to Joey. He just seems so much older than me. But no, Matthew, I mean, they brought him on to Give Me a Break. Like he got on Give Me a Break with his brother, and that was like, I want to say 84 or something like that. It looks like he did a short-lived sitcom with Gina Davis called Sarah.
Yeah.
In which
before
a workplace comedy centered around a young lawyer in San Francisco.
Right before all of her big movies in the late 80s.
It aired from
Interesting.
1985 to 1985. 13 episodes.
But in general, a good casting of the kids.
Yes,
Yeah.
they all work
For
together
the
really well
parents
as
and-
siblings.
Yeah. And I'm here to tell you, I think that Matthew Lawrence is still in a relationship with one
Yes,
Chili Rosanda
TLC
Thomas of TLC.
What a good-looking couple.
Good for both of you, man.
Good for Matthew Lawrence.
Good for both of you. I mean, yeah, just Chili's kind of amazing. She's really pretty. And
yeah, they were good kids.
I was watching a little bit of Brotherly Love. Is that the name of their podcast?
Yes.
I saw the one, I think that it came out last month, and Mara, Lisa, and Matthew and Joey are all on it.
Wasn't the sitcom also Brotherly Love?
Yes.
There was an ABC Family sitcom with all of them.
With the three of them.
And I think that was the first thing that Andrew...
Okay.
I think that was kind of his big break
Andrew,
as a child.
Yeah, it was that Sabrina Boy Meets World kind of time. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, I just think they work so great together as siblings.
Yeah, they look like siblings,
and in a match.
First of all, I feel like Matthew and
parents.
Lisa look very like brother and sister. But yeah, it's because, and again, these characters can be like, I feel like the older daughter Lydia, her character could lean into just like bratty teen that just like hates Mrs. Doubtfire or whatever. But they're all like they have layers.
Yeah.
They have good arcs.
When she comes outside, she's kind of got that mental health awareness, like, sorry of the way I reacted. I'm going through a lot.
They give
Yeah.
Lydia a nice little redemption over being so awful to Mrs. Doubtfire. Yeah. All right, so let's get into just sort of the main concept of what happens in the movie of Mrs. Doubtfire.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, so I mean, we established that Daniel is an actor.
Needs to get his shit together.
But he does. He's done voiceover work. We know that. We know he can do impressions, voices, things like that. And but he's kind of man-child.
That scene with Anne Heaney when he's
do voices,
doing all of his voices. It's like, get out of here. Get out of here with that. It's so fucking hilarious.
But it's also like cut up to
Yeah.
hell because he just did probably so much.
Do you have any special skills?
This one. Yeah, the impression of a hot dog. Why is that funny? It's just hilarious. Is it funny just because it's Robin?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Reagan.
I remember when I was a kid not getting the Reagan impression
right.
too.
It's like later.
I just thought that he was just doing an extra funny, weird
Old guy
voice.
Yeah, there's some deep cuts there.
Yeah. So when he's out on his luck, he can't find a job, he needs something to do, and because he doesn't have a job, and Miranda was so like rotted about his spacious apartment.
I know, this is real estate goals in San Francisco now.
I mean, I'm assuming he got himself like a 2-bedroom so that the kids have somewhere to sleep when they come over. So that's why it looks bigger.
Though I don't think that they're spending the night.
Yeah, that's the thing. They never can spend the night. So
I think it's one day a week.
I think it's a 1-bedroom apartment.
He got a pretty shitty deal to see the kids.
Yeah. But still, like I mentioned, real estate goals now.
Oh,
if you can afford this place in San Francisco now.
I'd love to live in that apartment that he lives in.
But the social workers come in by 2 nights a week to just check on it.
Yeah, that is also crazy.
Anne Heaney.
That's a lot.
She's my favorite. I was just watching her episode of The Golden Girls the other day.
Selner.
Anne Heaney has one of those interesting stories that she didn't get into acting until very late in life. I want to say that her husband passed away.
Oh, wow.
And it was something that I think that she may have done some community theater work. But after her husband died, she decided just to really give being a senior character actress kind of a shot.
She was great
as an actress and had a pretty successful career.
Yeah.
Is she in Misery, or is that somebody else?
That is Bunny from
Sex and the City.
Sex and the City.
And they're 2 different ladies.
Yeah, they're 2 different ladies. They're probably going to be going up for the same parts at this time.
Anne Heaney wasn't in Sex and the City?
No.
Wow.
I mean, she might be there somewhere. You might remember
like Charlotte's mom.
You might remember Anne Heaney from Gus Van Sant's Psycho.
Oh, I definitely remember her from that. But I mean, yeah,
I love this. I love this character actress. I think that she's so good.
Liar, Liar.
Mm-hmm.
That's one that she's in around that time. Alan McBeal. Yeah.
She's just so note perfect in the apartment. You know, so Mrs. Zellner has to go and check on the apartment, and Daniel gets caught.
That scene is a masterclass of comedic acting and staging.
See, it's interesting
It's
because
so good.
that scene plays really well, and the scene in the restaurant at the end also plays very well.
Longer,
but it's a little bit more sitcom-y to me. I don't know. It's a little bit like Jack has to have dinner with Mr. Roper and his boss at the same time, and like, I don't know.
It's longer. It has to have so many moving pieces.
There's a lot of moving parts, but it is successful. I think it's still funny, but it just, I don't know, maybe because it's is it more successful with Mrs. Zellner at the beginning? Just all this. I love when they're downstairs and she's like, "Oh, I'll go up and get him," and she's like, "Oh, I'll go with you." And Mrs. Doubtfire says, "Oh, all the stairs." She's like,
"How's your heart?
How's your heart?" And she's like, "If you can do it, I can do it." I love
hoofing it all the way.
I love that Mrs. Zellner was like, "Listen, lady."
All right. Well,
you're clearly
before we get into kind of all of that fun stuff, we have to talk about
Madeline Ashton.
We have to talk about the brother. Put him in drag.
We have to talk about Harvey. I mean,
can you make me a woman?
Honey,
that shit is great. That whole scene is amazing. Each distinct lady that they come up with, I'll watch that whole movie.
Oh yeah.
So we got the Cuban cha-cha woman
with the nails.
Very birdcage.
I think it's too much. I think I scare the children. Yeah. Yeah, we were saying we were getting a little Agador Spartacus. Mm-hmm. But I'm okay with that.
Got the Streisand.
The Fiddler on the Roof, Bubby.
Yeah. Okay. Well, who's first? Was
Fiddler on the Roof, Bubby.
Oh, Fiddler on the Roof, Bubby was first. Okay. Yeah.
Match me.
Oh, it was such a shanda. I should never buy Gribbinus from a moil. It's so chewy. No, I feel like Bobby. This is not working.
Yeah, no, this isn't working. But don't worry, it's a work in progress, and you're my brother. I will never let you be embarrassed.
God bless you.
I think we're going to have to do the entire face.
But look at this nice thing, though, we have here. Matchmaker, matchmaker, make me a match. Find me a fine, catch me a catch.
Okay, so another fun reason to do a movie like this on our show that I feel like this is probably one of the first times as a child that I saw something like Fiddler on the Roof referenced,
right.
Barbara referenced. That I don't know if I would have known who Barbara Streisand was when I was 8 years old.
This will give you some
and especially
context.
that my mom wasn't super into Barbara at the time, so I would have not really known.
We didn't have the big
I wasn't
reference
watching
for her.
The Prince of Tides or The Mirror Has Two Faces, so I think it would have been one of my first Barbara references, and also Shelley Winters older or Shirley MacLaine older?
What's the difference?
Scotch tape.
and
red hair dye. But yeah, just these very gay references as a child that you're introduced to, and I love that.
Yeah. Well, we talked a little bit about it in our Birdcage episode that there's something about Robin that, like, I buy him playing this gay character in Birdcage, and I buy him having this gay older brother in this movie and just kind of playing along with him to like singing like show tunes.
Don't tell me not to live, just sit and putter. Life's candy and the sun's a ball of butter. Don't bring around a cloud to rain on my parade.
I want to see the version of the movie where Barbara shows up at the front door. And Barbara is the nanny.
The full Barbara face in a white turtleneck.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, probably one of the first times I ever really knew something like Funny Girl reference that I feel like it took me a number of years later to really figure out what Funny Girl was. I always just knew it from this scene.
Yeah, but that's one of those great American Songbook thing where it's like when you finally watch
the thing,
you're like, oh shit, this isn't just a commercial for like a walk.
That song's in here.
Like, it's a real song. Yeah, but I also love that the look is 90s Barbara.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
but he's still just singing,
because she had some pretty successful tours in the early 90s, right?
Well, also she was a working actress
Definitely.
and film director.
Yeah, because
at
she
that
would have
time.
been making
It was
stuff
the year
like
of the woman.
She would have been making stuff like The Prince of Tides.
And the mirror
And the
has
Constant-
two faces.
What's the year of the woman? That's in
Nuts.
the 70s.
No, but there was one in the 90s where
Okay.
the Oscars tried to say it was Year of the Woman, and it was like the early 90s.
But you're
And it
right,
was
the
one of
concert
the years that
tours.
Barbara.
Concert tours were huge for her too. Then,
Yeah.
at this time, yeah.
Yeah, so and that was the same thing. My mom's not a Barbara mom.
Mine was.
Yeah, and a lot of people, their moms are. That's how they get introduced to her because it's like
either
my mother just
we
loved her.
kind of see our mothers were really into Cher.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
my
Cher,
mom
they're
loved
Cher
movie
moms.
star Cher
Yeah.
too.
Movie star share.
Yeah, my mom likes TV star Cher. She always talks about
Variety
watching
show Cher.
watching the Sonny and Cher show and being pregnant with my sister and watching Sonny and Cher and seeing little Chastity at the time, seeing little Chaz out on stage in a like little teeny tiny Bob Mackie
Aw.
like version of Cher's dress, and she's like, it was so cute. But yeah, we love Cher singer, we love Cher actress, so we're Cher families. But I mean, you couldn't escape Barbara though, and not in a bad way, but in
Yeah.
a way that like, yeah, even I like at 14 or whatever, I knew who she was. I didn't know. Gosh, I probably didn't see Funny Girl until like 2 years ago when we watched it.
Oh,
That
what you
movie's
get
long.
subjected to.
Yeah, I think that I would have just known Barbara just as her name is almost an adjective. It's like a massive star, but
Right.
not really knowing a lot of
Probably knew her
context
more from
as the person.
I probably knew her more from Coffee Talk than the Richmond. But going back to the Daniel character, I think there's something about Robin that kind of. That's another thing that like, what are we going to get from Tim Allen?
Yeah,
when they're doing.
Are
this
you going to get
montage?
fun stuff like this?
Yeah.
Are you going to
I
get?
feel like if Tim Allen goes and does like the gay stuff, it's not.
Are you going to get fun? Are you going to get the fun queer humor?
Yeah,
with somebody like Tim Allen.
I think
No.
if when Robin did it, it was funny because he knew the jokes and you could tell like he probably really loves Barbra Streisand.
Friend of the community
You know?
too.
And I
Yep.
think if somebody like Tim Allen did it, it would be like, ugh.
Yeah, you
Like,
don't have that
well,
inherent warmth.
Yeah. And so I think that's just what makes him work so well with this. And I mean, also casting Harvey as the brother just works perfectly. That even without the prosthetics, they just look like they could be siblings. And it's like, is that really? Maybe he wouldn't have been Tim's brother,
Right.
just a coworker that they're just tight with or something. Yeah, so
This was meant to be.
yeah, there's
and
just
they
something
have
about
to
Robin.
and they have to build in too with the characters of, well, why does Mrs. Doubtfire look so good?
Right.
Too.
Yeah, and well, that's the thing.
Yeah,
that's
and
the
what's
genius
really
thing about
that's
having,
great about the script.
having
in these
Daniel
two characters.
be an actor
Yep.
is that he would have, if not for his brother being in the industry, then maybe just having these ties in the industry,
Access to professionals.
Yes, to professional. And even though they're a little fast and loose with, because at first I'm watching it and I was like, this is so cool. They really kind of show the process of like prosthetics.
It's some
and stuff.
suspension of disbelief with the makeup.
But then when it's the full like Michael Myers
We're just
like
taking off one.
yeah, Halloween mask in one big swoop.
That's all it is,
Yeah,
Pete.
it's just one. You can peel it off in one go. Again, fooling a generation of naive children.
That's all it is. Just the quick boop.
In movie making. But yeah, who cast this movie? Get her on the phone. She did a great. They did a great job. Why does the casting director have to be a woman? Yeah, from the kids to the overly qualified bit players, we love them all.
I mean, this casting agent works a lot with Chris Columbus. She
Okay.
cast Home Alone and Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. So Janet Hershertson is partly responsible for the careers of Mac, Culkin, and
Right.
all the McAllister
yeah, I mean,
children's and young Daniel Radcliffe.
I mean, someone who's used to going through like tons of big names too.
Yeah.
I mean, not only just for this, what we hear was attached, but when you talk about like Kate McAllister, like every woman in Hollywood was up for that, and so
doubt,
she killed it.
I want to say that this casting director did the movies that made us on Home Alone when she talked about putting together all of the McAllister family.
So fun.
Oh, okay,
and getting
yeah.
Catherine from Chicago, from the
Second City.
from Second City.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and that also Yeah, and I wonder if it's just a coincidence that like John Candy connection, like with. Well, no, I guess maybe because
Probably
Chris Columbus worked so much with John Hughes.
The John Candy connection.
John
and also
Hughes,
the Mac.
Yeah.
Mac Culkin came from Uncle Buck.
That's true. So Mac did come from Uncle Buck.
It was kind of a role that was written for him.
Right. Well, at any rate,
very well cast movie. This is
cast
why I am glad that the Oscars is going to be doing a casting award this next coming year.
Right. Still no stunts.
In the next.
No stunts yet. But we got casting though.
Okay.
I think. Yeah. If not for the next one, the next one.
The next one after that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Casting is there. Yeah.
Okay, that's great.
Are we allowed to talk about? We were back in the kitchen, but are we allowed to talk about how much we love that damn full cake in the fridge?
Yeah.
I need a face. I need a face.
It's the face. Oh my God. He has is it part of? Is it still?
Why does he have this cake in his
Is
fridge?
it still pieces of
Chris's soccer birthday
cake? For how long?
But
ago
no,
was
that
it?
was the soccer one. So yeah.
Didn't the pony eat part of the cake?
Yeah. This is just something for him to nibble on at night.
He just has a full cake uncovered. No, like cake.
Just
pan
picked it
lid.
down. Just picked it down from the corner store. I mean, that's what's so much fun about this comedy setup is that he keeps I mean, it's just brilliant comic staging of how Robin is running around this apartment when he closes the door really fast when he's sneaking down the hall.
Yeah. Well, this is the farce.
Yeah.
Putting yourself in.
Comedy of errors, farce. Closing of doors,
shutting doors,
opening and shutting of doors. It's so funny.
Yeah, but he does it so well, and the fact that his padding is one little suit, and it's kind of a funny looking suit. You know, when he takes the clothes off, and we see him getting out of drag, and you see the suit. You know, it's funny, but we get into the kitchen. The face is out the window. We've got to slam. He's got to slam his face into this birthday cake, but it gives us one of the greatest moments in the movie.
One lump or two, dear.
I mean, okay, so and then the story goes is that the studio lights were melting the
I get the lights
frosting.
Eventually got him melting.
Yeah.
And so
and they just
run with it.
They just ran with it. It starts following the tea so good.
It's my nightly meringue mass.
What did you say? It's got your cream and your sugar.
$1 or two.
Selner tastes.
When she puts it on her face, like eye cream. Oh my God. Yeah. So great. Yeah, it is kind of wild that this woman has to visit them so often. You're like, damn. What did he do? Did he it's not like he beat them or he's this felon.
Yeah.
He's
really made to be problematic.
I mean, is he on some sort of a list? I don't know.
Some kind of watch. Yeah, it's like, what the heck, man?
It's Miranda's vengeance.
Have a job. Yeah. She's got great lawyers.
Because she's checking in with Miranda, right?
Yeah.
Said that he's living with an older woman claiming to be his sister, and she's very unattractive.
when she says she's very...
It's the reaction.
That shit is so funny. Robin's like, even though it's a mask.
Doesn't even have a sister.
Some more great Mrs. Doubtfire shenanigans, Mrs. Doubtfire cooking. I mean, probably put in every single television spot of this movie.
Already having hot flashes.
Are the boobs on fire?
Yeah.
So good.
I mean, just this movie is made for a montage.
Yeah.
We love a montage of Robin playing soccer as Mrs. Doubtfire, you know, obviously
bicycle vacuum,
the vacuum. I mean,
so you were telling me something about Aerosmith's "Dude Looks Like a Lady,"
right?
That it was written for one of the members of Poison.
Vince Neil.
Yeah.
I mean, Vince Neil, Motley Crue or Poison?
I think that it's Poison.
I think so.
I mean, Vince Neil. Vintage Vince Neil from the 80s.
A
very beautiful man.
He was a very beautiful man, but also he still, even at the time, he still gave me a little Queen of Melrose.
Okay.
Cosmo Queen of Melrose. Yeah. Where's Madonna? She owes me $80 and a t-shirt. Vince Neil was giving a little Cosmo Queen of Melrose, but still very beautiful. And so the story goes that Steven Tyler was in a bar, probably the Rainbow Room outside of the Roxy or something, where they all hung out. and saw a very fancy lady. And Steven Tyler came up with the idea after mistaking Motley Crue singer Vince Neil for a woman with long blonde hair. Tyler's bandmates made fun of him, joking about how that dude looked like a lady. In his book, The Heroin Diaries, Motley Crue Nikki Sixx concurs that the song was inspired by Vince Neil. Nikki Sixx, I love it.
But yes, when we're not getting our twinkly Howard Shore score, just the fact that we get the dead-on music cues for "dude looks like a lady," "luck be a lady,"
I mean,
"walk like a man," out of necessity.
Yeah,
I mean, it really knows to go there with those needle drops.
Totally. And by the way, listeners, the lead singer of Poison is Bret Michaels.
Oh, of course,
of course.
Rock of Love.
What were we thinking?
What were we thinking?
Of course.
There's also a really funny kind of TikTok Instagram of a guy in a Mrs. Doubtfire costume that goes around at Halloween, and this man took a vacuum cleaner to a Halloween party.
Brings a damn vacuum as a prop.
But you know what? He fucking killed it.
It's pretty funny.
It's really funny.
Okay, so one of our favorite characters of this movie that I want to talk about is the sweet old man bus driver.
Yeah.
I mean, I love with these massive comedies when you can have a bit character actor that kind of gives this whole...
Yeah, he's giving a whole story.
He's giving a whole story
in just two
in
moments.
these two scenes.
Yeah.
He loves those Mediterranean types.
He loves those Mediterranean ladies. Keeps you warm at night. But yeah, I think that there's just something about you get like the full story of him that he's probably lonely.
Right.
He's seeing Mrs. Doubtfire get on the bus every night.
Yeah.
By herself.
And
stops the whole damn bus to talk to.
There's a bus driver kind of joke in Hocus Pocus. I don't know this is a different type of movie.
Right.
But isn't it kind of like a raunchy joke? Aren't they like sitting on his lap and stuff?
Yep. He's kind of like he's kind of catcalling all three of them in Hocus Pocus.
Including Mary,
which I'm into. he gives all three of them some attention.
But you're right. This recurring trope,
right?
Of the bus driver,
and it could have like been lewd, but it's like no. I think
there's something very sweet about it.
He really wants to go on a date with Mrs. Doubtfire.
He wants to take Mrs. Doubtfire out.
Okay, we do have to get one thing straight. Euphegenia with an F. As in Frank,
or
a TH,
or maybe we'll go with a PH.
A PH,
maybe.
Okay, wait. No, she did say that her husband called her Effie.
Okay, it's Euphegenia Doubtfire.
Yeah, so it's Euphegenia. Maybe it is a PH. I don't know, but yeah, I think he would spell. Okay, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't pronounced with the TH.
Euphegenia Doubtfire.
I know PH or TH sounds and F sounds sometimes get.
What was her first name?
Conflated.
Yeah, I think EUPHE.
All right.
I love that when Stuart asks her where she's from, here and there, all over, really.
Really?
Different places.
Mm-hmm.
But no, yeah, just going back to the bus driver real quick. I feel like it would have been easy for him to make some, make some rude jokes or whatever,
right.
like ask her to sit on his lap or whatever, anything like that. But yeah, we kind of got this sweet story of this man who's a little slow, kind of lonely bus driver. And then it's also that thing of like, I mean, even at my age now, you just think, when I get to be that age, am I going to think those people are attractive?
Oh.
But I mean, I don't know. Do we are we into older men at this table? But yeah, it's such a fun character that me and you always.
I love him.
We always have to comment on the bus driver.
He's great.
Yeah. But let's see, where were we before I cut you off there?
Oh, where were we? We were slowly moving into.
Yeah.
Well, this is when Miranda starts to really go out with Stu.
Sure.
I love the little stubble jabs with Stu, flipping him off through the window, pulling off the Mercedes
when
logo from the car
before our first meeting.
Yeah. Just walks by and grabs that hood ornament and fucking yanks it off.
Stu.
Yeah,
sounds like a thick soup to me.
Thick soup. It's short for Stuart.
All of these subtle jabs from Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, really great stuff. When she's trying to pick out the dress.
Can't you see the lust in that man's eyes?
Yeah, the picking up the dress. But yeah, it's because he's kind of becoming a bigger part of the kids' lives. So it's like leading us to the big, we're all going to the private pool club.
Okay, so when I revisit this movie, the two kids find out way earlier than I remember.
Before the pool club.
Lydia and Chris
yeah.
find out that it's their dad. And it's way sooner than I remember it being.
Just keeping that secret for longer.
Yeah.
That is always interesting.
That was one of the moments. Maybe we'll address it. Trigger warning.
I think that you would have to rewrite this scene a little bit.
This would be the one.
I mean, on its face value, it's kind of a crazy scenario.
Yeah.
Too.
He's going to freak out.
He's going to freak out.
Yeah.
Mrs. Doubtfire is not who she says she is.
But in today's world, we're talking about parts. We would just rewrite this and
I think there's ways to get have certain things be
have different revelations.
She would probably have to be cut.
Yes. Yeah, we'll just take that.
We would have to talk. We would have to have them talk it out, maybe a little different now.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Do these kids these days already know about all this stuff?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that goes along with kind of what we were talking about at the beginning. It's like the material was handled sensitively enough so that there are very few and far between moments where we're just like, ooh, this feels outdated.
Yeah, it never turns too cringy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. When it very easily could have with a lot of the humor, but maybe some of that NC-17 XXX rated version. Robin says some stuff that might be construed negatively, but I still doubt that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I feel like the two of us were both like, oh yeah, I forgot. I guess they are in on it through the whole third act of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was during this scene that we were noting that Lydia has the master bedroom in this house with these row of windows.
Yeah, she's got the bay window with tons of curtains and lace bunting. And
I have a lot to say about Miranda's interior design. I feel like all three of our moms would be buying everything in Miranda's interior design collection in the early 90s.
Yeah.
This decorating was a style. When you look at her lookbook that Stu's looking through. Oh, yeah.
Was it a little Laura Ashley, maybe?
It was a whole moment
in
home decorating at the time.
Right.
A lot of beige, cream.
Mm-hmm.
A little floral, too.
Yeah, some floral.
Those
some
floral
pastels.
curtains.
Yeah.
The bedroom kind of reminded me of Stephanie and DJ's bedroom on
Full House.
Full House, but I guess there was less shit in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was also interesting how they gave her that one little corner that makes her a teen with the U2 poster. But
right.
The rest is kind of the
wallpaper.
Yeah.
Curtain. And designed. And doesn't Mrs. Doubtfire ask her, did you decorate this house or whatever? And she's like, yes. Is it Mrs. Doubtfire or is it who asks? Somebody asks.
Yeah. Yeah. She says shit.
And she's all proud. She's like, yes, I did. I'm like, oh, well, I guess. It's nice. But yeah, you're right. It is very specific of that early 90s.
Mm-hmm. It was a moment.
Floral, a little pastel-y, a little I don't know. Yeah, maybe a little Laura Ashley, but it was a moment.
It was.
People tend to romanticize things, as we've seen with go to Party City and it's 80s party. And we're like, what? Neon? What? when were we wearing neon spandex? Not that often. So what is a 90s trope that people would conflate of this is how it was in the 90s, and it was not like that at all. I feel like we were taking down the wood paneling in the houses. But
yeah.
But I think this kitchen, the Home Alone kitchen, these are very you knew somebody whose house looked exactly like that.
It's all happening at the island.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. This is when islands really came into full force. An island, a peninsula, even. Yeah. No granite countertops anywhere. It was all tile. It was all tile.
Yes. Oh yeah.
But this is why Miranda Hillard is such a successful businesswoman. She's like,
this is why she has this house.
This is why she's got this house in Pacific Heights, one of the most expensive neighborhoods in one of those most expensive cities in the country. This is like, you went to the house.
I did.
Is this by the Full House?
I don't think it's that area.
We're close. I've never gone to San Francisco.
Yeah, I've been a couple times, but yeah, when I went probably 10 years ago, this house was, very visited, very photographed.
Sure.
After Robin's passing, there was like a whole memorial thing. But now, I think in the past 5 years, there's a little gate at the bottom of the stairs.
Because people have no chill.
People
and
have
they'll
no
fully walk up to the front door and knock.
Yeah. So the owners got tired of,
Sure.
But still to this day, you could probably sit there all day and watch people go by all day.
But I mean,
on that corner.
It's a nice neighborhood, though, right? Pacific Heights isn't pretty swanky,
and it's right across from like a little park, so it's really nice.
Okay, I would imagine the locals would not be very pleased if you were to stay all day.
Right,
like get the hell out of here.
They get enough people.
Yeah.
But yeah, that corner house.
Yeah, Full House neighborhood. I don't think was supposed to be Pacific Heights. They're more by that park, and now I don't know my.
That's
San
your
Francisco
park too. Yeah,
geography.
I didn't go there.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I think Miranda is just like, I think she's making that money, man. I think she's bringing in that cash. She's like working it out to designing for all the other moms of San Francisco in the 90s. And is Pierce Brosnan? The idea that he came in was that she was going to decorate his
B&B.
He got a bed and breakfast that he's going to be charging $500 a night, which seems like on the low rate now. If you were to book a room in San Francisco for an Airbnb, but I guess early 90s.
Yeah. So I guess he's Mr. Business.
Yeah. Okay. So he's hiring her to decorate a business venture, this B&B, which I would think a B&B in San Francisco would lean into this Laura Ashley florals and pastel aesthetic. So he made the right call, right? I think he picked the right lady, and
he just knows she's single now.
And also that, Also, he's just like, what did he say? He's almost 40.
Oh, pushing 40.
Pushing 40. It's like, okay.
Got to get on it.
Gotta get married, man.
You always mention that scene when he goes up to the bar at the country club. It's sort of a remnant of an earlier script of
where
that
he's
character.
A little nastier. Yeah.
Okay.
But he says he's changed, though.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, because Miranda's got kids and he's changed and become a person who that doesn't bother him anymore. That she's got kids.
Okay, got it. Like earlier on, he would have been like, "No, forget this lady. She's got baggage."
Right, exactly.
Got it.
Robin's sitting at the bar, with
first
this
hitting on
hitting on this hot lady.
Mm-hmm. I thought they outlawed whaling.
Okay, Robert Prosky,
Mr. Lundy,
This man,
he plays the owner of the station.
Yes.
Yeah. Owner of the TV station.
Santa Claus.
He's Santa Claus in
Miracle on 34th
Street. Scott, you may also remember him from Outrageous Fortune.
Oh, he's the acting teacher.
He's the acting teacher.
What's his name in Outrageous Fortune?
Stanislavski.
Yep.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, he's fully the bad guy in that movie.
So we fully have covered a Robert Prosky movie on the show. I love that.
Yes. But and he plays Grandpa Fred, the Grandpa Munster kind of TV host in Gremlins 2: The New Batch.
So this is our third movie with him. Wow. I love that.
How about it?
And by the way, I kind of threw us down the wrong way with he wasn't Santa, he was the judge. But Richard Attenborough, of course, was.
Okay, sure.
In Miracle, yeah.
Jurassic Park, John Hannah.
Yeah.
Okay.
John Hammond.
Hammond. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yes, Stanislav Korzeniowski. That was his name.
You just do not go and wing it with Korzeniowski.
In which movie was that?
Outrageous Fortune.
Outrageous Fortune.
Shelley Long.
Great.
Bette Midler. But Mr. Lundy just like getting shithoused at this business meeting.
Knocking
With
back
Robin
numerous
Williams.
drinks. Oh, and I love. Okay, so this is something that I had forgotten about as a kid when he talks about hooking up with a waitress of how he got on the makeup.
Yeah,
and he was
must have
like,
rubbed off.
"Oh, does she have a friend?" That these two are going to go fuck some like waitresses after they get done with this business meeting.
Hey, that's Hollywood, baby.
Yep.
Showbiz.
Head of TV station vibes.
I mean,
Yeah, well, yeah, especially
head
at
of
this time.
network. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like I said, this whole ending, it still works, even though it's like kind of saw a little
It's
bit
like
of it.
it's like a heightened Three's Company scenario.
Yeah. But I mean, it's it's still funny seeing him change, and then
It
seeing,
still
like,
works though.
And all those little things like the smoking, non-smoking sections, the I'm allergic to pepper, how these things need to come into play in order to make this whole wild.
Yeah.
Because
he switched sections so they wouldn't be with
right next to each other.
Next to each other.
And the shrimp, I guess, is his little vengeance he's trying to.
Right.
Doesn't Mrs. Doubtfire call Stu Mr. Health?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. His tummy doesn't look like my daddy's. It's called liposuction. Not everyone has a personal trainer.
Oh my god! all that shit, so great.
Yeah, I mean, there really are some times, and when we think of this movie, that they would get everything they needed in the can first, that was scripted, and then give one for Robin to go wild.
Yeah,
it does. There are certain moments like that make you think, was this, the improv one,
like the teeth? Do you think the teeth was originally in the script?
Right, like even just the callback to Dead Poets, the Carpe Dentum,
Oh yeah.
Oh, I didn't even notice the Dead Poets Society reference in that scene. You're right, though.
Just making you wonder.
Yeah.
Like you say, if that was the one for you.
I think
Robin.
so.
Okay, so
so.
Josh, I have a question.
Okay.
At the 1994 Academy Awards, who are you booting from Best Actor and putting in Robin? Are you booting? Okay, so we got the 5 nominees: Tom Hanks, Philadelphia; Anthony Hopkins, Remains of the Day; Daniel Day-Lewis, In the Name of the Father; Lawrence Fishburne, What's Love Got to Do with It; or Liam Neeson for Schindler's List. Who are you booting? Because I think that we both agree that Robin should have made the 5.
Yeah, he won the Globe. Which would have been a nice comedic alternative. We love that, right? Pete? We love to give you some comedy in the.
Yeah,
I think I'm with you on this. Daniel's had his love. I think I boot Daniel.
I think I boot Daniel as well.
In the Name of the Father.
But
who remembers that movie?
Yeah, he had a lot of nominations at that time. And
was Emma was this the year Emma was double nominated, or am I confusing
with
that
Howard's End or something?
With the year that she won? I think
you could be. This could be it with Remains of the Day. This could. I love Remains of the Day.
Okay, so Emma Thompson did get a nomination for The Remains of the Day. Did she make it into Best Actress? Not that any of this really matters.
But yeah, we'll boot him.
Okay, so Robin Williams, did you say he won the Globe this year?
Yeah, this was a double. Oh, it was both a double year for Holly and Emma.
Yeah. The movie won comedy and it won the Globe.
Maybe this was the year of the woman.
Mm-hmm. The year of the woman. But yeah, I mean, but maybe like in the typical Globe fashion, we love it, but the success of the movie, it just wins the Comedy Globe.
God,
he wins,
This is a very serious year for Best Actor. It's like all 5 of these movies are
downers.
All 5 of them.
So you throw in Robin, but how close was he?
I think he could have been close.
Yeah.
I think he could have placed
7th,
6th, or 7th in that race.
Okay. Off the top of your guys' head, would you think who else would have been?
Who would I think? I think Denzel would have been close. I think Anthony had 2 projects that year.
Do you know if Denzel was run in supporting or
that is a
lead?
good question.
Oh, for Philadelphia?
I would imagine that for Philadelphia they would have put him in supporting just for I mean his odds might be a little better.
It was a weird year. I think Shadowlands, I think Anthony was competing against himself in lead, and there was like a lot of interesting factors.
I would imagine that if Leo got into the 5 for Best Supporting Actor, maybe Johnny Depp would have been kind of up there in What's Eating Gilbert Grape too.
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
put in Robin.
Yeah, they were just so ready to go sad.
Yeah. Oh, is that? I mean, yeah. I don't
Won
know
that
what it is.
won that makeup Oscar though.
Yep, we love that.
Okay, that's cool. We should look up that acceptance speech.
Yeah, that might be fun. I haven't revisited that.
Mrs. Doubtfire was nominated with Philadelphia and Schindler's List, too.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this definitely has the more showy stuff.
In makeup, you can usually have a little more fun of who you give as the winner, too.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. A real transformation.
I'm scrolling through images on IMDb of this, and it's like the Latin woman with the nails. There was like just a wig and like red lipstick.
This Latin woman
and lashes.
This Latin woman showing up on their front door.
But there's no illusion. It's just going to be Daniel in a wig.
It's just Daniel in a wig. Yeah.
Frighten the children. Doing this.
But they don't do a nose as Barbara. Because I think that's when they notice we have to do some prosthetics.
No, there's a nose.
No, okay.
There's a nose.
Okay, maybe that's before.
Yeah.
Then we go into latex.
Oh yeah, they give Robin a nose.
Yeah.
And what do we say? The real life latex being like 7 or 8 pieces, not just the Michael mask.
Yeah, not just the scary man mask at the Spirit Halloween.
I mean, the amount of work for this makeup, I think that probably on a good day, by the end of it, they probably could have gotten Robin in and out maybe 2.5 hours, but I would imagine that at the beginning of production, it probably took closer to 4.
And he is basically in every scene. So
yeah. He's in every.
Have you ever seen this on stage?
So no, I actually haven't seen.
I know that
yet,
it had a very successful run. Was it on Broadway or the West End?
It was on Broadway and the West End, and I think it's touring now.
I think that it may have been on the West End when we were in London, Pete. I can't remember. I think it was.
I don't remember.
Yeah, all three of us have been there in the past 6 months, and I think it was there, but I didn't see it. Yeah. I mean, and I'm sure those little minor tweaks we talked about in writing. Really making it clear, I think, in this story that this isn't a man just frivolously dressing up as a woman.
Right.
He wants to be with his kids.
Yeah.
And
there's no commentary.
It's his last resort.
There's no commentary on anything trans in it.
Right.
No.
Rob
McClure plays him on stage.
Yes. Yeah. I think he got a Tony nom. So
okay.
It's
man, Pierce Brosnan looks really good in this movie.
Yeah. So this a couple years away from Bond, and to think that GoldenEye was first, right?
GoldenEye was 95.
Was
yeah.
So.
I mean, he looked like this at the age of 39 in 1993 or maybe 92 when they shot it.
Did you grow up on Remington Steele?
I remember it being on, but I feel like we never watched it. We were like, I don't know, it was a little maybe too grown up. We liked action shows.
Magnum.
We liked action. I feel like we watched a little bit of Magnum.
You like Moonlighting.
We watched the A-Team.
The A-Team.
There's
that picture of you picking up the A-Team van as a kid.
Van at Universal Studios. I mean, we did love Moonlighting when that came out. That was more of a comedy romance situation with some action. But I feel like Remington Steele was a little too... But that show was on in like 83.
Yeah.
Like 10 years before this.
I was mentioning of how
he's
when
like
you
ageless.
Look at Pierce Brosnan, I couldn't even ballpark an age for him. Is he 29? Is he 39?
In this movie?
Is he 49?
Yeah.
I don't really know.
Yeah, and I don't care.
Yeah.
He's just fit and doing his thing,
That dive.
Touch me again, I'll drown you.
The double in the dive looks really good. I mean,
there's some. We caught some seamless stunts. In this.
Tell me, it's really him, and I'll believe you.
Sure.
But Pierce. I'm looking at the international posters for this movie.
International posters
are crazy.
There was some later weird international remake.
Oh, is there a Bollywood remake of this movie?
I'm not sure it was
Bollywood. I think it might be a Bollywood movie. Here, let me see.
Gosh.
And then, of course, just while you guys are looking that up, I will mention that in the wake of this movie's success, there was a lot of talk, including a script by Bonnie Hunt.
She finished a full script for it.
For what, a sequel?
For a sequel.
It was when Mara went off to college, right?
Yeah.
Mara Wilson goes off to college?
Yeah, things came and disappeared, and then 4 months before Robin's passing, they announced an in development.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, but things would come off completely and say, no, that's just talk. We haven't found a script we're ready for, and then they would kind of come back.
And Bonnie Hunt is one of those workhorse writers that she fully would write an entire season of her sitcom and just have them all done. So I'm sure that she wrote she banged that out in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's like, what's the concept?
There was a Bollywood remake of this movie.
Mm-hmm. But how good was the makeup?
It was from 1997, a Hindi language comedy.
No, there's 3. There's one in 1996 that's a Tamil language comedy. That's also, these are just all Indian movies.
I mean, they saw the success.
There's 2 from India, 96, 97, and then a 2001 in Sri Lanka.
Okay.
That's wild.
I mean, I guess with anything successful, they see the promise in.
Yeah,
and I guess that the legacy of this movie is on the stage, which is kind of fun too.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
That it keeps going, as we talked about, like seeing things weekly. It was funny the other day. I looked up Aunt Jack, Scott Capurro, because I was curious. He really only has a couple credits, but he's one is a Star Wars voice character from episode 1 that you guys would know.
And who is this?
Aunt Jack.
Aunt Jack.
Aunt Jack.
Scott Capurro.
Sure.
But I looked him up because I was really curious. And
say the name of the character. Would you know? Do you have it written down?
I don't.
Oh, okay. It's okay. I'll look it up.
I think it was like Bede or something. But a local San Francisco actor who is still to this day touring as a comedian.
Oh, I love that.
So just kind of plucked locally. And had the gay impact of this movie, like we talked about.
He voices Bede in the Phantom Menace. Pete, do you remember who?
It's kind of a couple heads. Kind of like
is it the commentator on the pod racing game?
Like a two-headed, yeah.
Okay.
At the pod racing.
Okay. All right.
Bede. But I just because I was curious about that as someone who didn't have many credits in TV or film.
Sure.
But apparently is a writer and works touring to this day as a comedian. Him and his husband live in San Francisco.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So that was a little.
Yeah, because I was someone that I was like, I don't recall seeing you before or since.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Who dat?
But yeah, that's cool that he gets
that moment in history.
Yeah,
and moment in George Lucas land.
Yeah, he's the one that doesn't have any lines in English.
Okay, yeah, I think he like voiced it in the video game too.
Yeah.
But,
okay. Cool.
But that's him.
And Greg Proops from Whose Line Is It Anyway? Is the other head.
Oh,
that's
okay.
In English.
Cool.
Yeah.
Bede.
Yep. I knew that. But that all goes back to the amazing casting in this movie.
Just kind of wrapping up our thoughts on Mrs. Doubtfire, I think another thing for me, kind of growing up in the early 90s, my parents were probably divorced by the time I saw this movie in 93. And I do remember it being a big part of kind of fully understanding divorce from like kind of when you watch this movie, you really are put as a child in the position of the parents. And I think that I think that the big monologue at the end of the movie with the TV show when he's reading the letter, I think that scene always really spoke to me as a child.
Yeah.
Of that, I did really feel like Mrs. Doubtfire was talking to me, like through the TV about my parents' relationship.
Yeah.
And just kind of really speaking to me as a child. And something like that I think really meant a lot to me. That I don't remember seeing that done in a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Aimed at both children and adults.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even how kind of special in the end that with Miranda coming to the TV station, that they are able to not end in a bad way, that we're able to make the end of our marriage work in a way that will be best for the kids.
Yeah. And I think that that's always a big part of when he's pitching the television show to Mr. Lundy, of just never wanting to talk down to children, too.
Yeah.
Of that, this is, something that all sorts of kids can relate to, is like a family going through divorce.
Yeah.
And I think that there's just something really moving about that scene.
Yeah, so like ending on that.
Yeah.
note, yeah.
And especially like Sally's performance in it that it like I still get like very moved by it when I revisit it as an adult. Mm-hmm.
Puppet.
Yeah.
Puppet.
I would watch the shit out of that show by the
So I also thought that maybe in the show, Mrs. Doubtfire is like a secondary character. Like maybe Daniel's like the host and it's his house, and maybe Mrs. Doubtfire is like his mom.
No,
or
I think
something.
I think Mrs. Doubtfire.
And she just comes over every now and then.
I think it's like Mr.
She's
I think
the
that
host.
it's like Mr. Rogers, but
that's what
Mrs. Doubtfire
Right.
is Mr. Rogers.
No, I get what they're doing, but I'm just saying I feel like it also could have gone another way, where
Right.
at least they let Daniel be himself sometimes. And
could've.
then just play different characters on the show.
Sure.
And she's just like, oh, and here's my mom, or
That'd
Mrs. Doubtfire.
That'd be fun.
I don't know why he would call his mom Mrs. Doubtfire, but I think I don't know. I just thought that might have been another way to do it, but I get for the purposes of like ending the movie, it's like Mrs. Doubtfire. So he's just kind of like a Dame Edna character where people are just like, he just does the character for the show.
Do you think she'll stay with Stu, or was that moment ruined? Was it tainted? By all the crazy,
by the Heimlich maneuver of
and just everything
of the shrimp.
Will she find somebody else?
Yeah, I don't know.
Or will Stu just be like, I'm out of here?
He's like, peace out.
This crazy family.
I think Stu might peace.
I think he might dip just because it's like the children were already one thing, and now it's like after he finds out, it's like, dude, that's your ex-husband, so he's always going to be around.
He was traumatized.
What next? Yeah.
Trauma.
PTSD. So, poor Sally Field. Stu was hot, but oh well.
We appreciate that they
else.
kept the previous host as the mailman.
Yes.
That they just didn't kick him to the curb.
I never had thought about that before, but I was like, oh yeah, I guess this is their way of showing like
Keep him on the payroll.
Yeah, he's not walking out with like a cardboard box with a plant in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, fuck my drag.
Gosh, I'm looking at Chris Columbus's career. I mean, this guy has done some bangers.
I mean, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I was doing the math, 34 years old when he directed this movie.
Wow,
when you watch the
insane.
behind the scenes
A baby.
footage, he looks like somebody in his early 30s directing this massive movie for 20th Century Fox.
Fresh out of film school. and
Yeah.
Here he is with these giant hits under his belt already. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was just he wrote Gremlins. I mean, I think that he wrote Gremlins kind of as a spec script, and Ablum bought it.
Wow.
So he did.
20s.
Yeah, that was like 10
I mean,
years
he
before
did
this.
a few
9
things
years before
for.
this.
He did a few things for John Hughes. Did he write Christmas Vacation?
I think he might have written it. He didn't direct it, but I think he might have written it.
That's wild. 'cause
And
Rick Clemens,
Christmas
so young.
Vacation, I remember. I think that he was originally supposed to direct it, and he didn't get along with Chevy Chase.
Yeah. Which, who can get along with
Who
Chevy
can?
Chase?
Oh, and he wrote The Goonies.
Oh,
yeah, he
wow.
did.
Yeah, he wrote The Goonies.
So
sure did.
young.
Yeah.
So young.
Yeah, that was 84, 85. So, yeah, Gremlins was 84. So that was 9 years before Mrs. Doubtfire. So what, he's 24, 24, turning in scripts to these multi-million-dollar
Jeez.
Steven Spielberg-produced movies. How did he get his foot in that door?
Holy moly.
Sheesh.
He went on to reunite with Robin Williams in the late 90s. Do you remember what it is?
Is this Bicentennial Man?
I haven't seen Bicentennial Man since the theater.
then.
Since the theater.
Yeah.
You saw it in the theater?
Yeah, I saw it in the theater.
I think I did. I think I saw it.
Yeah, and like Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone and the Chamber of Secrets, and I think that he has a producing credit on Prisoner of Azkaban.
Just getting that whole thing rolling.
I guess that Rent, that was a rough spot.
He directed Rent?
He directed Rent.
Ooh, that was a rough
That was a
spot.
rough spot.
Such expectations for,
Yeah, and then his career kind of petered out in the late 2000s. Peter Jackson and the
I think he's doing
Olympians,
just fine
but
for himself.
I think that he was just collecting
Percy
those,
Jackson?
I think he was, Percy Jackson and the Olympians. I think he was just kind of collecting those checks.
Oh, probably.
Mm-hmm.
he's got something coming up with Helen Mirren, and still chugging away.
I mean,
Wow.
Gremlins 3 is still on his IMDb, but they've been talking about that third movie for well over 10 years now.
Yeah. But I mean, Mrs. Doubtfire is one that we do not own. Physical nor
No,
electronic version.
Shocking.
of
For you
this
guys, I
movie.
guess.
And I'm just like, we just need to go dig it out of like the $5.99 bin at Target. Like, I will buy a DVD of this. Your DVD that we watched looked fine. It was. I wasn't like, this piece of crap. Get it out of my house. Get it off my 4K TV.
Like I mentioned before, I feel like queer adjacent. That there's some gay stuff in this movie that I think that we can enjoy.
Yeah, but I think we have to appreciate that Robin really plays it off well. You know, if you're going to have to cast a straight guy in the 90s to play these gay adjacent roles, it's like you couldn't find anybody better.
Man in a Dress movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, that plays it off so well. I think Tim Allen definitely would have fucked overall. That's
Warren Beatty. I kind of want to watch that movie. Who would you like? I mean, I guess that Sally could work with somebody like Warren Beatty.
Yeah.
That you could still
Sally
keep her.
Kirkland, yes. And Sally Field.
And he would have really seemed like a linebacker, like his son, when his son has that line.
I don't know. Is Warren Beatty funny?
What was that God movie that he
funny
did?
Movie?
Well,
Heaven Can Wait.
Heaven Can Wait.
Yeah.
Although the comedy isn't so much around.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's going to dress like a lady.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to be able to, like... I think he's definitely done comedies before, but
yeah, it is interesting.
Yeah.
The original vision.
But this movie's on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
So you don't even have to have a physical copy or an electronic copy. just a membership to old Disney.
That's all, kids.
Listen, folks over at Disney Plus, I know you're listening. Prick up your ears. Your interface sucks. Fix it. Move all the Hulu stuff to one spot. Keep all the Disney stuff on the splash page. Your interface is garbage mama, and it is not 40 inches. You need to figure this shit out.
Don't worry about Daryl Hannah's butt and the hair.
I don't care about Daryl Hannah's butt and the hair anymore. Just put all the Hulu stuff in the Hulu corner. Put all of Disney stuff on the front page, or back to, and make it easier to find The Simpsons. And hey,
you don't need all this mixing.
We don't need all this intermingling. Keep your Hulus and your little button.
Oh,
that
this
is
was
all.
fun.
That is all.
Do we have any last thoughts on Mrs. Doubtfire?
Go buy the DVD for $5.
And like I mentioned, the movie's of '93. Get out of here with that top 10.
Yeah, I mean, it came out a great year.
There was something for everyone in that top 10.
Everyone.
Yeah, the family movie is just as rewatchable and exciting as anytime Jurassic Park is on FX. Anytime Mrs. Doubtfire is on TBS, we always stop and watch.
The only thing of these movies that I have not seen, I don't know if I've seen The Firm.
Oh, yeah, Tom Cruise,
Tom Cruise in The Firm.
Yeah, very.
Can I actually sit down and watch the Firm now and enjoy it?
At this point, are we like,
did I miss it?
Yeah.
Maybe. It's long. But
well, we don't have to watch The Firm. I think we're good to go on that. We got Mrs. Doubtfire.
The box office, like, for Jurassic Park, 900 and global 914 million, and then Mrs. Doubtfire 441. That's how far ahead Jurassic Park was.
There's a reason.
That's how massive of a hit that was.
There's a reason we sit here today in 2024 with Jurassic still happening.
And they are about to start filming this new movie with Scarlett Johansson.
But did you also just say Mrs. Doubtfire made $400 million?
Yeah.
That's good.
A family comedy. Coming in
Great.
at $400 million. Get the fuck out of here.
But what I was saying is that's a...
Oh, it was a huge gap.
That's a huge gap.
Yeah. Number one's 9, number 2's 4.
And this was at a time where movies did not really gross over $1 billion.
Not right.
I think it took it until Titanic for movies to gross that much worldwide.
Yeah, totally. But, yeah, man, I feel like if you've never seen it before, who are you? Welcome to Earth.
Who are you? Please
Welcome to Earth.
Please come to our world.
What have you been doing with your life? Grow up and watch Mrs. Doubtfire. And if you have seen it, watch it again.
Please do.
Please watch it again. It's hilarious. Come on, it's just brighten up your day. There's some really funny shit in this.
Did you know that Sally Field was born in Pasadena?
I feel like I did know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I feel like I did.
Was she born at like Huntington? Do you think?
Probably. That's probably the. I mean, Who knows? I'll ask her next time I see her.
Sally, right now, we like you.
We really like you. Josh, this was so much fun.
Thank you so much.
Good to see you guys.
Thank you for suggesting this movie.
We got you
Great
for
to
a
see you
good
as
summer
always.
episode.
A staple of my childhood.
All of ours. My teenhood. I think I was like 14.
I still can't believe you didn't see this in the theater.
Sorry.
Skizzy.
All right.
But yeah, thank you so much, Josh, again for coming on. You're always welcome anytime. Bring us more movies as funny as Mrs. Doubtfire. Listeners, stick around.
Don't go anywhere.
Don't go anywhere. Be right back. Listeners, you guys, thank you for sticking around to the very, very, very end.
We're halfway through June Pride Week. I always forget to properly intro Pride. I'll have to be better at that.
I know. We never do a good Pride programming
I
situation.
mean, we're Pride programming 12 months out of the year on our show.
I know. That's true. That's the real story. But listeners, you guys, thanks for sticking around. But I think right now it is time for some
Patreon shout-outs. Let's hear them.
We want to say a great big hello and thank you to all of our active patrons, including new patron Deja, Amy, Zoe, Anna, Michi, our friends at the How Do You Drew podcast, Andrew, Kate, Pep, Tammy, Roberto, Daisy, Patrick, Kelly, Chrissy, Stephen, Laura, Thomas, Lori, Brenna, Jess the Rabbit, Lawrence, Lisa, Alexis, Thomas, Millie, Ted, Benny, Melanie, Susan, Shelby, Paul, Jamie, Drew, Genevieve, Dawn, Josh, Aaron, John, Nick and Shannon, Christine and Rufino. You guys, thank you so much for being patrons.
Thank you so much. We have some fun things going on the Patreon. Yes. We have the television that keeps us gay at the $5 level, where we watch a television show, sitcom,
hour-long drama. We
kind of do it all for our TV episode. We always do some fun stuff. We've been doing that since last year, so we have probably 8 that we've done so far. 6, 8.
Yeah.
We have some fun stuff at the $5 level. At the $10 level, you will also get the Watch With Us commentary.
Yes, indeed. We pick a movie. We watch the movie. As we're watching it, we record a live commentary track, and we post it on Patreon. We give you instructions on how to play the movie at your leisure. If you have a disc, if you've got it on streaming, we'll give you instructions on how to sync up our track when you play the movie so that our commentary will play live as the movie's going.
So if you do the $10 level, you'll get 2 bonus episodes every month to go along with our weekly episode.
Yeah. The commentary track works really, really fun the way I said it when you listen to it as a commentary as the movie's playing. But even if you just listen to it as a bonus episode, on your walk.
We try to make it work.
It's still just as fun. So head over to patreon.com/movies that made us gay for more information on all those cool options.
You can also rate and review us. Give us 5 stars.
Yes.
We would love to read some kind words.
Yes. If you have an iPhone or an iPad, you've got the Apple Podcasts app pre-installed. So open up podcasts, search for Movies That Made Us Gay, scroll down and give us 5 stars. We've got a brand new review. It's a 5-star review from Apple Podcast listener Teets31. I think I know who that is. Stunning icons, gay. This show is just as exciting as the Pope saying a slur. 5 stars.
Well, what's the slur that the Pope said?
I don't even know. I never looked it up.
I think he said faggoty or something, which is such a homosexual turn of phrase.
Yeah.
Who taught the Pope that?
But isn't he also where's he from?
Who taught the Pope that? I would love to know that.
Italian or Eastern European or something? What's he saying faggoty for? So weird. I don't even know. But thank you, Apple Podcast listener Teets31. But like I said, open up Apple Podcasts, search for Movies That Made Us Gay, go all the way to the bottom, and you can leave a review. You can hit 5 stars. You can also do that on Spotify as well. If you're one of those, then they're listeners. You can follow us on the socials. We're at Movies That Made Us Gay on Instagram.
We're on all the platforms.
We're on all the platforms. But anytime you see a post of ours, like the post, save the post, send it to a friend, write a comment, anything like that. All that engagement really helps for our show to get a greater reach to a wider audience. So that really helps. So thank you very much for doing all of that, all of our wonderful Instagram followers. So thank you so much. If you want to follow our personals, feel free. My name is Pete. I'm at Peter Lasagna on Instagram.
I'm Scott Youngballer on Instagram, and follow my letterbox.
Yes, indeed. Lots of fun movies. What are we seeing soon? Oh, we're seeing Inside Out. So you'll see a new review for that in a week. But until next week, everybody, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.